I wrote T.S. Eliot's poetry employs unique stream of consciousness voices which don't privilege personal reflection, but rather use personal reflection to provide wider social commentary. And straight away, as long as you stick with this thesis, you argue this thesis throughout your essay, you have a 20 out of 20 essay. And that's how easy it is. And I'm not exaggerating this by even a little bit. A 20 out of 20 essay answers the question bang on, first line. Do not get into this idea of, oh yeah, I'm getting to it. My answer is like near the end of the introduction. No, your answer to the question is the first thing that a marker should read. Alright guys, so I was recording and I just realized my camera had stopped shooting. You weren't able to see the bottom part of the screen. Just gonna fix that up. I know that you weren't able to see my answer, so I'm just gonna slide this up. And just bear with me guys, this is my first video. There's a lot of stuff here. I'm still figuring it out. I'm just doing it on my own. We have to keep in mind that that's not it. Like, we didn't just finish there. We also have this part of the question. That is its strength and that is its weakness. And remember guys, so we still have that is its strength, that is its weakness, and the to what extent part. So we have my response, which is T.S. Eliot's poetry employs unique stream of consciousness voices which don't privilege personal reflection, but rather use personal reflection to provide wider social commentary. That is its strength. Now there's the second part of this question. That is its strength, and his work has no weakness. So now that's this part taken care of. Therefore, now this is the last part, the statement does not align with my view of Eliot's poetry at all. Now this part at the end, at all, is important. And it's important because the to what extent part over here specifically asks us to give a judgment about the amount of extent. So you have to say to a significant extent, or to not a significant extent, or to an overwhelming extent. So you have to give that judgment. So I said it's not, it does not align with my view of Eliot's poetry at all. And that's it, guys. Like, this is it. As long as you're arguing this thesis, throughout your response, you'll be absolutely fine. This is worth it. I really want you to understand that your essay, that essay that you work day and night on, you've gotten feedback from your friends, your family, your teachers, that essay isn't going to be able to yield you the marks that you deserve if it doesn't answer the question. And this is the way to go to learn how to answer the question. It's going to take you a little bit of time, but it's so worth it. And you're going to have practice papers. I'm going to make sure of that. So please, please, please work on this. Please use this technique. Now, the first one I did for you because I wanted to show you what the method is like. Now, for the next one, let's go back to the HSC paper. Maybe we can go into the HSC 2019 and I'll do the Crucible for text and human experiences because that's quite a common text. So, and I'll also go through that part. Like, I'll also go through the short response of paper 1. But for now, so let's have a look at Arthur Miller, The Crucible. Step 1 is, and again guys, you can do this with a question of your own choice. I'm just going to do Arthur Miller, The Crucible because that's really, really common. There's also, William Shakespeare, The Merchant of Venice. You can have a crack at that. There's 1984. I'm just going to go through 1984 in The Crucible. I hope that covers a lot of you. And if it doesn't, I hope that T.S. Eliot one covered you. But it's all about a skill. It's just like mathematics. It's the algorithm, right? This is the algorithm. Just take that away and apply it to as many questions as possible. Get those marked. Have a crack at it. Do this process. Show it to your tutor. I promise you that this is worth it. This is 100% worth it. Let's get started. So, this is HSC paper 1, 2019. The question goes, to what extent does the exploration of human experience in the crucible invite you to reconsider your understanding of love? Now, I know a couple of students who sat the HSC in 2020, and they were, I remember they came out and they were just boggled by this question, because the whole part of Crucible, the whole play of Crucible is about fear and the consequences of, mob mentality. And that's the way that a lot of schools have taught it. That's the way that a lot of students have learned the text. And this is what I meant earlier about, the new syllabus weeding out people who are coming into who are coming into exams with memorized essays. That's not going to work anymore. They're trying to test people's communication skills. If you can't answer a question, if you can engage with the question, that tells the respondent that you're not really sure of how to communicate, and you also don't understand the text well enough, right? And both of those aren't things that we want to be doing, much less anyone finding out about. So, what's step number 1? Identify the key concepts. Step number 2, define the key concepts. Step number 3, now you've addressed the question, now you can write your thesis. Now, I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes, so please just pause the video right here and set a timer for yourself for 5 minutes. In future videos, what I'll do is, instead of you having to set a timer, I will just leave a space of 5 minutes. But just for today, because it's the first video, I don't want anyone to get bummed out that it's so long. So many of the future videos will just be long because I'll be leaving space for you guys to do work. And that's all. And go. All right, so hopefully you've had a crack at this question. You've had your best go. It's okay if it didn't turn out the best way you wanted. It's all right if it didn't turn out exactly the way you wanted it to. That's completely fine. We're going to go through it here. It's you and me together. And then you can go off. There's so many past papers out there, for paper 1, paper 2 online, that you can just have a crack at, just go through, test yourself. I remember I did so many past papers like this before my trials and before my HSC, and I ended up, it really paid off. And the thing is, you guys are just a few weeks away from trials. Many of you those who are watching might even be in year 11, year 10, kind of prepping for going into year 12 or senior English. And if you develop this skill now, you develop the skill before you're going into year 12, you are just going to have so much more time to focus on the actual text rather than worrying about this fundamental skill. And that already gives you that extra edge. Okay, let's go. First thing to identify, what you should have identified, is to what extent does the exploration of human experience, so whatever that means for you, in the crucible, invite you to reconsider your understanding of love. Okay, couple of things we've highlighted here. Step number 2, define. So, to what extent? I just write how much. And again, it doesn't have to make sense to everyone, it just has to make sense to you in your head. You don't have to worry about anyone else. Exploration of human experience. So, how does the crucible explore human experience? So, the most common way that we were talking about before was fear. The human experience of fear, the human experience of mass hysteria. So, to what extent does the exploration of human experience? So, the exploration of human experience in this case is, for us, mass hysteria / fear. Right? In the crucible, don't need to define that, that's just the text. It's underlined because that's the formal conventions. So when you're talking about the name of, or you're referring to the name of the text, you either underline the name or you put it in quotation marks, because you can't really italicize in real life. So it's quicker, just underline it or quotation marks. I prefer underlining because we put quotes in quotation marks, and it's just visually easier to see. That's also what I recommend. Invite you to reconsider. So reassess your understanding of love. Okay, so I have thought, so you can say love is just, my understanding was purely romantic. And of love is not just purely romantic love. Love is love for yourself or love with one another. And that's what at the heart of Crucible is a lack of love, a lack of understanding. Right? That's what I understood it as. The people are going around because they are othered, they're exploited. The women there are severely exploited by men of power. Right? There is no love between people except, sorry, if you heard that, that's my stomach. There's no love in the Crucible except for the love that people have for their own safety. And they're willing to go to any extent, ruthlessly, for that love. So, if your essay was about how people behave when they're put in situations of fear or when they're put in uncertain situations, their love for self or their love for their sense of security overpowers their moral compass. Right? So you can explore this a couple of different ways. You can talk about their love for their own safety. You can talk about the lack of love in terms of the connection that is in the Crucible, and that's what causes the mass hysteria. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to stuff up a couple times while I write this, and that's okay. You're allowed to stuff up. Now let's have a go at trying to answer this question. To what extent does the exploration of human experience in the Crucible invite you to reconsider your understanding of love? The Crucibles remember to underline exploration of human experience through fear and mass hysteria overwhelmingly, or mass hysteria either overwhelmed me, no, compelled me, significantly compelled me, there we go, significantly compelled me to reconsider so we can now again go for a couple of things. The importance of love within society, the importance of love for other humans, / the importance or the way that our love for our sense of security overpowers our moral compass in situations where we feel we're in situations where our safety is threatened. Now keep in mind, guys, while this video is going to be edited and splashed together, yada yada yada, all these questions I purposely, even when I teach, I don't prep responses to questions. I go into a class, I'm going into this video not knowing which questions I'm going to be exploring, not knowing which questions I'm going to be answering. And I do that because I want you to see firsthand that this works. I want you to know, and I promise you, like, if you want, you can throw a question at me and I will do it. That's how I do it in my classes. I will ask students to ask me a question, just bring up a question, choose a random question off the top of their head or through a list, whatever they want, and we'll go through it. And by doing that, I'm hoping to prove to you that this is the method that's going to help you. Right? So let's keep going. Significantly compelled me to reconsider the way our love for our sense of safety overpowers our moral compass in situations where our safety is threatened. Again, that's it. Another thing I want you to focus on is this here says, so this here says your, which means you're allowed to refer to yourself. Do not do, I mean, you absolutely can, the audience is understanding or the respondent's understanding, and you can go along that path. But the thing is, if I asked you, how was your day? You wouldn't say the responder's day was good. You would say my day was good, right? And that's kind of what you want to do in your essays. Just stop thinking of them as this really complex, confusing little task that you have to do, and think of them as a person having a conversation with you over text. Imagine it's just a text that you have to answer, and that's it. So, because it says you're here, that's why I say compelled me to reconsider the way our love for our sense of safety overpowers our moral compass in situations where our safety is threatened. The Crucible's exploration of human experience through fear and mass hysteria significantly compelled me to reconsider the way our love for our sense of safety overpowers our moral compass in situations where our safety is threatened. Booyah! Done! Beautiful. Now you can have your prepared essay on how people react in situations where their safety is threatened, which is what a lot of people explore the Crucible as, because that's what it's about. It's about mass hysteria and, ultimately doing the right thing even in the face of fear and punishment. Great. Now that was the first one. The second question, I also said I'm going to be doing 1984.